The celebrities are gossiping about drama amid Baldoni.
And that what in fact happened was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds believed that suing Baldoni might boost their PR campaign, but it seems they now realize it could seriously backfire. At least they're aware of the risks involved. Meanwhile, fresh pictures of Ryan Reynolds boarding a jet and leaving his home state of New York on Wednesday have sparked plenty of rumors and chatter across both Hollywood and the media. Reporters and fans alike are buzzing with all kinds of theories, wondering what's really going on behind the scenes with the power couple's latest moves.
So Justin Baldoni, he has fought back yet again. He filed a lawsuit against the New York Times, which we had Brian Friedman on to discuss, saying it had done a defamatory report on Blake Lively's claims that she was allegedly harassed by this guy when they shot the movie It Ends With Us, a film about domestic violence.
It looks like Blake Lively is already regretting her decision to sue Justin Baldoni, as both she and her husband are now facing serious fallout from it. The backlash has been intense, and they're definitely feeling the heat. So, let's dive into a little background on what's turning out to be one of Hollywood's most dramatic and unexpected court battles. Justin Baldoni, yes, the same guy who's known for emotionally wrecking us with It Ends With Us, has taken legal action. And guess who he pulled into the courtroom spotlight? None other than Mr. Deadpool himself, Ryan Reynolds, and his real-life leading lady, the always stunning gossip girl, Blake Lively. This whole situation is getting messier by the minute, and fans can't stop talking.
And then the hit piece had a bunch of text messages and emails between Baldoni and his PR team. Baldoni ended up being dropped from William Morris Agency, which is one of the biggest agencies in the world.
So, here's what really went down. Blake Lively filed a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni back in December 2024, accusing him of sexually harassing her on set. The allegations shook Hollywood, sending shockwaves through the industry. Ryan Reynolds, often painted as a mischievous yet deeply devoted husband, stood firmly by Blake's side. While some labeled him cold or ruthless, others saw a man protecting his wife. Things got intense when Ryan reportedly confronted Baldoni in his lavish Manhattan penthouse. And get this? He didn't hold back. He allegedly insulted Baldoni right there, in front of not just Blake Lively, but also their close friend, none other than Taylor Swift. The whole scene was dramatic, emotional, and totally unexpected.
At the Reynolds penthouse in Manhattan, where Ryan Reynolds allegedly bullied Justin so badly that a Sony representative who was there, the production team behind the movie, and her biggest takeaway was, "I am very sorry that I let him get away with doing that to Justin. It was so nasty."
Allegedly, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds wanted complete creative control over the film. Everything from the mood to, well, maybe even the moon. Sources suggest that Blake had her sights set on outshining stars like Margot Robbie and Scarlett Johansson. In a shocking twist, the couple reportedly launched a fake PR campaign targeting Justin Baldoni, even involving the New York Times in an effort to destroy his reputation and win sympathy from other A-list actors. What makes this more intense is the history. Ryan and Justin were once the ultimate bromance duo, always seen laughing at charity events, posing together at galas, and acting like best friends. But that friendship crashed and burned, all because of what insiders now call Blake's carefully planned PR attack. Things turned ugly when Ryan allegedly called Baldoni a dangerous predator and even reached out to multiple creative companies, asking them to cut ties with him for good.
Baldoni has filed his opposition to Blake Lively's 12b6, and this is turning into an epic battle.
The couple seemed bold and full of confidence, feeling unstoppable thanks to Baldoni's silence, but things quickly started to shift. Apparently, casting directors aren't exactly thrilled with aggressive power plays, especially when it comes to emotional dramas. When Blake and Ryan reportedly pushed Baldoni out of his own movie and took over key decisions, the tension grew. Then, they allegedly went a step further by filing fake sexual harassment claims against him, thinking it would secure their control. That was the breaking point. After staying quiet for so long, Baldoni finally snapped, setting off a chain reaction no one saw coming in the Hollywood circle.
Monshine has spoken out against lead actress Blake Lively, disputing her claims of an unsafe and inappropriate filming environment during a key scene in the movie.
Justin Baldoni hit back hard, filing a massive $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their PR strategist. He pulled Ryan into court as payback for publicly damaging his reputation and humiliating him in front of millions. Now, Baldoni and his powerhouse attorney, Brian Friedman, are fully committed to tackling the sexual harassment accusations made by Lively, determined to prove every word wrong and clear his name once and for all. But before we dive deeper into the legal mess, let's rewind and talk about one particularly bizarre moment: the now infamous birth scene. Because honestly, what's a Hollywood legal drama without some completely random head placement thrown into the mix for added chaos, confusion, and
Accused director Justin Baldoni of casting his personal friend, Monshine, for an intimate scene that involved close physical proximity to her during a simulated childbirth sequence. Lively described the choice as invasive and humiliating, further alleging that the set was chaotic, improperly closed.
So, in this intense birth scene, Blake Lively was fully immersed in a powerful emotional labor moment, everything dialed up to 11. Then, out of nowhere, enters Adam Manson's head, and things got awkward fast. Reports say he got a little too close to Blake's lower hemisphere. But this wasn't some unexpected guest appearance or wild method acting gone rogue. Nope. This was all in the script, pre-approved, with everyone signing off. The energy on set was very much, "We're making art, people." Blake gave her consent, her team was on board, and the director likely added one of those classic, "it'll be tasteful" lines to ease the mood. Everyone seemed fine with it and moved on. But for Blake, that moment lingered. She later flipped the entire scene into a shocking plot twist, weaponizing it as a key accusation against Baldoni, changing the course of everything.
But now Monshine is publicly pushing back. Quote unquote, "My experience working with her is very different than the one she described in her lawsuit," he told Page Six. "Indeed, I was surprised to read her description of the scene." Monshine explained that Lively was not nearly unclothed as her lawsuit suggests. Instead, he states she wore a full hospital gown, black shorts, and torso prosthetic.
Days or maybe weeks later, the news breaks. Adam Manson turns out to be a close friend of none other than Justin Baldoni. Yes, that Justin Baldoni, the same man now locked in a legal war with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Suddenly, Blake changes her tune. She goes from being fine with the scene to saying, "Actually, that moment was super inappropriate." But here's the twist. Apparently, the issue wasn't where Adam's face ended up during the scene, but whose friend that face belonged to. A total masterclass in delayed outrage and dramatic timing. So, is this all just an odd coincidence? A late-breaking realization? Or a seriously awkward attempt to shift the narrative? The internet, as usual, has thoughts. Many believe Blake is trying to rewrite the entire storyline with a Sharpie and a spotlight. Why even agree to a scene if you're going to regret it later? Asked pretty much every casting director watching this unfold like a live soap opera. Because if you gave the green light, rehearsed it, blocked it, filmed it, with 12 crew members munching on stale granola bars behind the monitor, what exactly are we upset about now? No surprise that backlash is hitting hard, especially since Adam has already presented strong proof that her harassment claims were completely false. The rest of Blake Lively's claims about feeling uncomfortable on the set of It Ends With Us have been thoroughly addressed by Justin Baldoni on his extensive 168-page website. This detailed site includes every piece of relevant information needed to understand Baldoni's side of the story and how he insists he's completely innocent. He's uploaded text messages, voice notes, behind-the-scenes videos, basically a digital archive showing that he and Blake acted like genuine, friends throughout the filming process. The footage reveals her smiling, laughing, and looking totally at ease with Baldoni and his team on set. Interestingly, respected journalists like Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly took the time to break down all this content, frame by frame, and came to the same conclusion. Blake appeared genuinely happy, relaxed, and very comfortable in Baldoni's presence. Their analyses have added weight to Baldoni's claims and raised even more questions about Lively's accusations, creating a buzz that's still shaking the entertainment world. All of Hollywood could clearly see Blake Lively laughing and smiling around. Justin Baldoni in the behind-the-scenes footage, there was absolutely nothing inappropriate or uncomfortable about it. Despite that, Lively later claimed she felt uneasy during the scene, raising eyebrows across the industry. But based on what everyone's seen, the truth appears to tell a very different story. The footage speaks for itself, showing a relaxed and joyful vibe on set. Now, with all the contradictions coming to light, Hollywood isn't staying silent. In fact, many insiders have made up their minds. And it looks like the industry has officially decided to boycott. Blake and Ryan had it all: beauty, sarcasm, Deadpool box office success, and that perfectly curated Instagram flirtation. They were the couple everyone admired, the ones who seemed to be in on all the inside jokes while sipping artisanal matcha and buying quirky art with a sense of whimsy. They just had that vibe, you know. But recently, something's shifted. The red carpets feel colder, the phone calls go straight to voicemail, and Hollywood seems to be giving off that "it's not you, it's actually you" vibe. Blake is reportedly being labeled as difficult, overly controlling, and not worth the PR headache anymore. Studios are now hesitant to even have her on their sets, almost treating her like she's carrying some sort of contagious reputation. As for Ryan, he was once the golden boy, the king of sarcastic charm, the guy who could sell anything, from a movie to a gin brand and even a small country, all with one clever tweet. But now it feels like everything's heading downhill, and it's not just in Hollywood, it's everywhere. The tides have definitely turned. Let's just say studios are starting to notice that beneath that charming smirk of Ryan's, there might be a guy who's not just content being in front of the camera. They're starting to see a man who might just want to call the shots, direct the show, and possibly even sue the entire production if things don't go exactly how he envisions them. It's becoming clear that Ryan's ambition might go beyond his usual sarcastic humor and leading roles. He's likely got bigger plans for his career and his influence in Hollywood. That kind of control freak energy is definitely making waves, and studios are now taking note of how far he might push things to get what he wants. Hollywood just doesn't have the patience for that kind of negative energy, especially when there's a long line of A-listers waiting to take the spotlight, and they've got 0 lawsuits on their record. Meanwhile, Blake is trying her best to connect with her close friends, including Taylor Swift, a few other A-list celebrities, and some key Vogue insiders. But, unfortunately, all of her efforts seem to be falling flat. Despite her best attempts to rebuild her circle and regain some social clout, the reality is that things just aren't going her way. Hollywood's looking elsewhere, and her efforts to mend things aren't yielding the results she was hoping for. It turns out, even Taylor Swift's seemingly endless emotional bandwidth has its limits when it comes to crisis managing a lawsuit-induced PR disaster. Swift was once considered the fairy godmother to Blake Lively's daughters, always there for her and Ryan, supporting them at every turn. She was even in the Manhattan penthouse, helping Ryan during his heated moments with Baldoni. But now, after seeing the darker side of the Marvel star, Taylor has quietly pulled back from the chaos. She's decided to step out of this insane drama. Blake's squad isn't answering calls, and the group chat has gone completely dry. Hollywood's once beloved it-girl circle has subtly transformed into a Blake-free zone. Even Colleen Hoover, the author of It Ends With Us, has unfollowed Lively on Instagram and deleted every photo of her from her feed. It seems like Colleen's pretty upset about how Blake's actions have impacted the debut novel and its movie adaptation. Meanwhile, Producers and production companies are pulling away from both Blake and Ryan. Some execs are even reconsidering their deals with Ryan's production company, with offers that once flooded in now suspiciously absent. Hollywood has effectively stopped inviting them to the parties, and if they show up anywhere, the stares they get are enough to cut through steel. It's almost like a silent, "What are you doing here?" vibe from A-listers, as if to ask, "Do you really believe you still belong in our circle, you crooked weirdos?" A clear example of this awkward shift in Hollywood was the SNL 50th anniversary event, where Blake and Ryan's unexpected appearance caused noticeable discomfort among Hollywood's A-listers. Most of them quickly tried to sideline the couple, making it clear they weren't welcome. Watching it unfold was almost laughable because the whole thing reeked of a publicity stunt. You could tell this was a calculated move, a desperate attempt at getting attention. But after facing such a public insult from their friends and industry insiders, you can imagine they started regretting every decision that led them here. Blake and Ryan are now clearly reflecting, and by reflecting, I mean they're likely deep in thought, possibly even having an existential crisis. Blake, who's built her whole brand on being effortlessly chic and the girl next door with just the right touch of designer, now regrets filing that lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. But let's be honest, it's not just the lawsuit she's regretting. She's probably sitting in a dark room, questioning whether she should have even started this whole media storm in the first place. At the time, it may have given her the fame she wanted, but now that fame is quickly turning into a headache. The couple is starting to realize that suing people during a crisis is probably not the best career move. Certainly not one that would earn them a glowing review on Yelp. So what do you do when your PR storm is reaching Category 5 levels? Well, you could take a page from Lively and Ryan's playbook. Initially, Blake tries to play the damsel in distress, claiming that the $400 million lawsuit and Justin's PR campaign are seriously affecting her mental and emotional health. She even tried to play the Me Too card, suggesting that she's the victim of a predator. She questions why Justin should be allowed to release snippets to the media without providing the full context. That's the narrative she's pushing, painting herself as a victim in this mess. Blake claimed that she and her family couldn't even step outside their home because of the harsh, inhumane attitudes from A-list actors and producers. According to her, the entire mess was Justin's fault. However, Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Freriedman, was quick to shoot down these accusations. He pointed to Blake and Ryan's appearance at the SNL 50th anniversary event as proof that the couple wasn't suffering from any kind of isolation or mental strain. As he put it, "I'm unaware of anyone, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and made jokes about that situation. If they can attend a high-profile event with smiles on their faces, they're clearly doing just fine," he argued. Both Baldoni's website and Adam's statements in court are enough to discredit her Me Too claim as well. Blake, he continued, had mentioned she wasn't in the best place, that she was exhausted, and had failed to give herself time to recover. When that approach didn't work, Blake decided to do what any parent regretting a rash decision might. She hit the family first button. You're probably wondering, how can someone pull that off? It's actually pretty simple. Just get spotted at a horse event with your daughter. Because honestly, nothing screams, "I'm just like you, I swear," like an emotionally tumultuous Hollywood actress in the middle of a lawsuit, casually riding a horse. It was her PR move to present herself as the grounded, relatable mom. You can almost hear her PR team in the background whispering, "Quick, make her look like a family-oriented person, despite all the legal drama. Horseback riding is wholesome and everyone loves horses." With those pictures, she made a bold statement, claiming that she regretted starting the lawsuit against Baldoni, as it had been preventing her from truly enjoying peaceful family time. She even said she couldn't have fun with her daughters anymore because of her hectic schedule and the emotional strain brought on by Baldoni's lawsuit. Blake is once again playing the damsel in distress card, with a touch of the sad mother routine. This is clearly a tactic designed to grab the attention of women around the world. While her relatable mom content might help her seem like she's Back to business as usual. Studios and casting directors are still skeptical about her PR stunt. They're cautious, not ready to cast her in their films just yet. Even her girlfriend liked an Instagram post of her standing with her daughter at the horse event, but that's the only support she's getting. Everyone's still wary of her, and it looks like they won't be swayed by her or her husband's charms anytime soon. Now, I'm not sure if Blake has already decided that her Hollywood career is over, but Ryan seems to have come to that conclusion. I think Ryan Reynolds feels that maybe Kate thinks he hates him, or that she's simply done with him, which is a bit of a twist. The Deadpool actor has gone quiet ever since Baldoni filed that massive $400 million lawsuit against him. His entire energy is focused on fighting this lawsuit, and to do so, he's initiated his own PR campaign. In this campaign, he's presenting himself as humble, quiet, and innocent, hoping that his persona will win over Hollywood and the court. Will we see a Deadpool 4? Probably not. He joked that his wife and kids would divorce him, even saying that he has no prenup with any of them. Recently, he posted pictures showing himself at the crowded JFK airport with his assistant. He looked tense and serious, clearly on his way to some important hearing, but his posture and clothes were very down to earth. He wore a black baseball cap, a duffel bag, skinny slacks, and white sneakers, all while sporting a tense expression. It was as if he wanted everyone to feel sorry for him. Meanwhile, Blake was presumably at home, regretting starting the lawsuit war with Baldoni. Ryan, however, was doing everything he could to keep his image intact. After all, both Blake and Ryan submitted a request to dismiss the $400 million lawsuit in court, and Blake even responded to Baldoni's claims, calling them ridiculous. Blake practically calls the lawsuit what it is: pure revenge. She claims that this entire legal battle is just Baldoni throwing a tantrum, trying to make her life miserable. According to her, the court should simply toss out this case because it's nothing more than nonsense. You'd think Baldoni would have moved on from whatever imaginary slight he's holding on to, but nope. Apparently, this lawsuit is his version of seeking justice. He and his lawyer are determined to get $400 million from the pockets of this royal couple, hoping to ruin them in every way possible. As a cherry on top, Blake also wants the court to make Baldoni pay up some serious money: attorney's fees, damages, punitive damages, you name it. It's almost as if she's saying, if you're going to waste my time with this nonsense, at least make it worth my while. Her legal team has even pulled out the big guns, citing California Civil Code Section 47.1, which prohibits retaliatory lawsuits in cases involving public disclosures about sexual harassment. Essentially, they're telling the court, if this is just about revenge, it's not going to fly. So, after launching a PR campaign that ruined Baldoni's career, Blake wants him to forget about it and stop retaliating with his own PR campaign as revenge. She's asking the court to consider how Baldoni's media presence is harming her mental health, and how his newfound respect at Hollywood events is causing her distress. According to her, there should be no public discussions about the lawsuit, and Hollywood should treat her and her husband as if nothing ever happened. Meanwhile, Ryan's legal team has come up with some interesting claims of their own. They argue that Ryan was just being a supportive husband throughout all this and really has no business being dragged into the lawsuit mess. In fact, Ryan himself is quoted saying, "I'm just here for the popcorn, folks." Ryan Reynolds is now trying to get the case against Justin dismissed, and what's crazy is, given the emotional nature of the situation, I can't help but believe he was heavily involved in drafting the motion. This suggests that the whole Manhattan penthouse incident and the claims of Baldoni being a deranged predator were really just Ryan's innocent attempts to support his wife. His appearance alone at the airport, without Blake, shows he's distancing himself from the lawsuit mess and trying to convey that he has nothing to do with it. I felt like the whole situation was very aggressive, and I agree with that sentiment. I can't fault someone for wanting to defend their partner, but as I read through it, I couldn't help but feel like there were parts that came across as a bit petty. There's even a burn book reference in there, which seemed a bit much. Ryan's dismissal request wasn't as loud or arrogant as he was with Justin initially. In fact, it was much more toned down and filled with requests. He clearly didn't want to poke the bear any further. It seemed like he was trying to go back to the old days when he and Justin were good friends and had an amazing relationship with each other. This softer approach was also a clever tactic to garner sympathy from Hollywood, as Ryan wanted them to view him as more than just a celebrity couple, but as a relatable individual personality. However, on April 1st, Baldoni's legal team came, backswinging, turning Ryan into a fool in front of the entire Hollywood world. Brian Freridman filed a request to dismiss the dismissal, essentially telling the court that Lively and Reynolds were only pretending Ryan wasn't part of the problem. According to Baldoni's team, Reynolds can't just sit back and act like a bystander in this situation. He's apparently directly involved, and not in a let me pass the popcorn kind of way. It turns out, he's even seen as a co-conspirator. So, there's no way out of this one for Ryan. It looks like that $400 million lawsuit may carry a hefty price tag for him as well. Ryan Reynolds might find himself stuck with attorney's fees, and possibly more, as this drama unfolds. Brian Freridman has clearly made it known to the couple that they can't escape the attorney fees or the claims coming out of the lawsuit in court. The legal battle continues to rage on, with Ryan's legal team going head-to-head with Baldoni's team. What's happening is that Baldoni's team submitted a document, and Ryan's team raised some serious questions about it when they submitted their response. The war is far from over. In the second legal document, they dismissed the claims by arguing that since it wasn't in the first one, it shouldn't be accepted. This tactic clearly shows that Ryan doesn't have any solid claims, and he's just wasting Baldoni's time and the court's time. The first amended complaint that Sowitz and his co-plaintiffs filed is aimed at fulfilling a promise by cluttering this court's docket with hundreds of paragraphs filled with clickbait content, which is intended for an audience other than this court. These paragraphs have virtually no relevance to any reasonable legal claims, making them more of a distraction than anything else. Despite this, Brian Freridman isn't backing down. He has raised the issue of Ryan calling Baldoni a defamatory predator in his lawsuit. Freridman claimed that Reynolds, or his company, may have breached a duty of care by defaming those they were contractually obligated to promote. Negligent interference with prospective economic advantage is a serious legal issue under California law. It essentially means there's a duty not to interfere with another's business interests. If Reynolds was hired to promote a film and then engaged in actions that publicly defamed the project, it could hurt the film studio's economic interests. In response to Brian's claims, Reynolds' legal team is pushing back hard, trying to deny the existence of any contract or duty. This might be to protect his company from any potential legal exposure. The battle is still ongoing, and it's clear that things are far from being resolved. It seems like Ryan and his company are heading for a tough road ahead, and it's likely that they will face consequences. We'll be sure to keep you updated with any developments, so make sure to subscribe to our channel if you don't want to miss any of the future updates, and follow along with this high-stakes legal drama.